So I finally finished watching the first season of Frieren. It was alright. It took me quite a while, not gonna lie, because the show is really boring, but it is okay. I just always had enough by the end of a single episode. I wouldn't be able to bring myself to watch anymore. Most episodes of the show are kinda just boring and mundane, and not much really happens. The show is mostly slice of life, but I don't think it's that good at slice of life, to be honest. I'm not charmed by the casual activities of the gang like I am in other slice of life animes. It's just kinda going through the motions. Everything in the show feels like a chore, no spirit to it. What I've learned is that the show should just be arcs, cause the shit where they need to catch the bird is really investing. I don't find the second trial with the dungeon very engaging though. The stakes just aren't there because they can crack the bottle at any time and get out of there. Makes me think about the trials in Hunter x Hunter, where you could just get fucked up and you're dead. Also, right at the start of Hunter x Hunter, all of the characters run for 2 episodes straight, and it's like super engaging. And also, pretty much every character in Hunter x Hunter is really based and awesome in their own ways, whereas here the characters are a bit lacking. Maybe it isn't fair to make Hunter x Hunter comparisons, but when there's a trial thing involved like this, I think it's kinda inevitable. I think this part of the show is good for showing us who Ubel is further, and demonstrating their ability to be way more powerful than they should be able to. The stuff with the demons is easily the best part in my opinion. Straight away when Frieren tries to murk that demon the second she sees him, I was like, oh shit, something's finally happening. The tone shift is so blatant. The quality of the demons being irredeemable and just entirely malicious skinwalkers is a good concept, and it's a refreshing change from the usual like racism metaphor that a lot of stories tend to go for. The couple episodes with the demons are very engaging, the fights are good, and there feels like there are actual stakes for once. And the way Frieren mogs that little demon bitch is the most badass part of the show, and definitely the best scene if you ask me, but it takes up such a small amount of the show. I think the stuff with the demons is where the potential lies with Frieren, and I have no doubts that they go into it way more in the manga. You could do so much with this concept. I wish they did more with it in this season, and I hope they go into it way more in the future. In a way, I can forgive a lot of my qualms with this season that I'll be talking about in this video. If this whole season turns out to be set up for what comes later, it won't make up for the lost time, but whatever. One of the things I really like about the show is how magic evolves over time, and magic is developed to combat other magic and invalidate types of magic that were previously the top of the magic food chain. It's like an arms race, and the elves struggle to keep up with it because they're total dossers, while humans graph like hell trying to make the spell that will defeat another spell because of the limited spans of time they have alive. And there is definitely something interesting in the whole thing, of the general populace's perceptions of the heroes being way different from what they actually were, which we see through Frieren. After a bit though, I think the point has been hammered in enough, but it keeps going, and keeps going. I feel like pretty much every quality of the show is so laboured, and every point the show makes too. Like, I feel it explains the same thing multiple times, and I'm just kinda watching it like, yeah, I know, you told me this earlier. There are many interesting concepts in this show, and the magic system is generally good. The recurring gags suck. First off, you got the mimic shit, immediately played out and never funny. The corrupt priest gag is a big eye roller. The older woman gag with Sign, probably the best gag, but like, it's just sort of amusing because it creates awkward moments, and it's not really like that good. The worst one is probably those girls beating each other up, just because of how generic it feels, and also how constant it is, and how it is again just never funny. It's like the creator of Frieren doesn't really get comedy, or just isn't very good at it, but they felt they had to inject humour into the show because, you know, it's what you do, innit? But then it all just feels really shoehorned. Can't really remember a moment that actually made me laugh. I think a pretty big complaint I have is that Himmel actually sucks. He's just like this gay annoying guy who everyone worships because he killed the Demon King. We don't get to see any of that though. I would like to see that. I would like to see him do anything badass, but we're never shown that. We're never showing any of the party of heroes doing any badass shit. And so it's hard to really care about the flaws and vulnerabilities they are shown to have, because we don't have the other half to juxtapose it with. But in particular, there is no reason to care about Himmel. After a while of flashbacks to him, I just got sick of seeing the cunt's face. With Eisen and Heiter, we at least see them doing more shit with raising Stark and Fern respectively. That makes them, I guess, more dynamic. But then again, I don't really care about them much either, if I'm being real. I feel like I could care way more about these characters if it showed them doing like anything cool whatsoever. Maybe to the world in Frieren, they're legends, but to me they're a bunch of waste, man. And that's not good when the sentimentality that runs through so much of the show relies so heavily on these characters. Like, build them up to be cool characters and it would hit way more. I know someone who has read the manga and he loves it and actually agrees with me on these criticisms, so that's pretty interesting. There are in fact multiple elements of this show that make it hard to care about. One of them being that there are absolutely no stakes at all in this show. Frieren is blackpilling Fern and Stark about how boring adventures are. Whenever they get into some sort of battle or something, it's like a really indifferent experience. You know, it's just what you do. You just get in these fights. It's one of them ones, innit? We travel around collecting grimoires and learning spells. Don't really care about it though. Don't really care about anything. Indifferent to everything. Nothing matters. Unironically, nothing ever happens. When cool stuff should be happening, it's just shown in montages to suck all of the possible life and excitement and ability to care out of the show. There are a couple exceptions to this, but this is how the show generally works. The show insists upon this deadpan attitude where nothing is allowed to matter, nothing is allowed to be exciting, it's all like a chore. And like, I get it for Frieren because she's like thousands of years old, so she's seen it all before. But the issue is, it's not just Frieren, it's everyone. It's the whole personality of the show. And I think the best example I can point out is there's this moment where Frieren and co are travelling in this merchant's wagon and it gets picked up by some huge bird and they're flying through the air. Frieren is totally calm in the face of this danger. That I can understand. The gang are composed as well. I can understand it still. They've been travelling with Frieren after all, and she's been blackpilling them. But then how do you explain this? The fucking merchant himself is just as composed as Frieren. How does that make any sense? That's just way too over the top. The lack of balance just feels like cheap writing to me. And the problem is as well, there's been a million deadpan shows and deadpan characters, I feel. So entering into this show, the deadpan shit is already played out. And then it's over the top and overbearing and infests pretty much every aspect of the show. Nearly none of it feels meaningful or engaging. The scene where Stark fights the dragon feels totally soulless and anticlimactic, given all the build up to it. It's like the show refuses to be exciting in any way. I just feel like I am wasting my time when watching it. Having all of the action scenes have no impact at all doesn't feel subversive at all, and it doesn't really lean into a sort of dry comedy either. It's just boring. I think the show is for people who are content with wasting all of their time away. It's a comfort show really, innit? I don't like comfort shows. I don't like comfort even. People just like to see the silly elf eat donuts and burgers and steaks. I don't like to see that. It makes me feel sick. This show is very over-sentimental to the point it annoys me. I think that sentimentality is a psyop, to be honest. Attachment to the material and earthly. The show wants you to get stuck in the endless cycle of samsara. It's propaganda really. After a while the flashbacks to the party of heroes become so gay and played out. Like, it feels beyond parody that literally every episode, Frieren will have a flashback to some random bullshit that happened with the party of heroes. You just get to a point like, oh come on man, are you serious? And then half the time it's some shit that doesn't tell anything new to the audience. I think that Frieren is a total sociopath. She's lived for thousands of years and has had like one meaningful experience in all of that time. I don't know, she's set up to be like cold and unlikable. I get that it's the point of the show that she is growing, but I just don't like how slow and unfeeling she is. I mean, like, for me to like her personally, which I feel a lot of moments kind of rely on. I think she's just like okay, but she might actually be evil though, if we're being honest. The show makes out that the only important things in life are sentimentality and comfort. Well, and having meaningful connections with others. I'll give them that one, that's a good thing to preach. But sentimentality and comfort, these are Yao the Bayoff's tools. Comfort will damage your soul, it will consume you. Comfort is what keeps you down, it makes you require it. It makes you unable to contend with reality and deal with uncomfortable things. Unable to contend with conflict. You need to be able to participate in conflict in life. If you can't, then you won't be able to stand up for yourself, and you'll just be subject to the will of others. If you're all comfortable, you're going to be all scared, and you're not going to be able to make any changes in the world and put an end to the plans of evil people. You're just going to bury your head in the sand and be comfy. It's perverse. People spend loads of time being comfortable instead of building themselves up. They'd rather pretend they're getting head pats from the silly elf than become ballers. Wake up. This show has made me change my opinion on the immortality question. because I would never want to grow this sentimental and gay about everything. This shit makes me want to die like Tupac, my last words being fuck you. Now only joking, we need to cure death. That's like top priority. If any of you man watching the Catman show or science people get to curing aging, it's what humanity should be focusing on right now. We're at the precipice of immortality and people don't even realize it. Wake up. I think all of the fans of this show are probably porn addicts, to be honest. And it's not that the show is sexual in any way, don't get me wrong, but I'm on about the apathetic, comfort-based attitude and the way that none of these life events are exciting or meaningful. Kind of like the dopamine-fried brain of the porn addict, whose reward system has been hijacked and destroyed, meaning that they aren't rewarded for the things they do in life, and are only rewarded by the dopamine flooding that comes from looking at porn. That's just the vibes this show has. Also, like, way Frieren gets stuck in that mimic. I don't know, man. There's symbolism there. And just look at the thumbnail for Frieren Season 2 on YouTube. This just makes me think these guys know their audience, and that I'm right. If you are a fan of this show, and you think what I just said is crazy, consider, are you a porn addict? I think you probably are. Anyway, all of the characters in this show are just like okay, at best vaguely cool. I don't dislike any of them in particular, but they don't do much to make me care about them either. Frieren, I don't know if I even really like her. She's like sort of amusing, but I dislike how much of an android she is. Eisen is vaguely based, and only because it's a requirement that dwarves be based. I don't know, dwarves are just inherently based. They didn't do anything to make him more based beyond that. Hyter is the best one out of the party of heroes, but I still don't really care about him that much. Like, I wouldn't be like, he was a cool character or anything. And his presence always comes with the fact that you have to contend with that eye-rolly gag of him being a corrupt priest. I do like how he sends Frieren on a fool's errand to trick her into training Fern. That's based. I'm cool with Stark, but I guess it's cause I just feel sort of sorry for the man. He's subject to these crazy women every day. There's not particularly anything cool about him. I guess it's just refreshing to have a normal guy who isn't deadpan in the show. I don't like this censor girl. She feels like utterly worthless in this show because she's like a token deadpan character, but pretty much every character in the show is a deadpan character. So like she just ends up being a nothing character. The deadpan shit just does not hit anywhere near as hard when it has nothing expressive to interact with. I mean, there's Stark. Stark provides some relief from this ceaseless deadpan shit, but he's just like a normal guy. Not super expressive or anything, but it is amusing seeing him get mugged and getting into strange situations constantly. The glasses guy is alright. He has pretty good moments, like when it's revealed he was never at the exam, for example. His personality is pretty cliche though. There's one of these guys in every anime. Sort of guy who's like pushing his glasses back onto his face with his index finger. Shit's played out. This guy who uses rocks, I think his abilities are like pretty cool. And he's like an evil fucker who's willing to kill kids, even though he doesn't have to. But he's just a chill guy, you know. He's just a chill guy. He's utterly deadpan. But at least he has egotistical traits and whatever to distinguish him. I don't think Denken is really very interesting at all. For someone who is supposed to be seasoned, he is quite boring. I do like that moment where he gets in a fist fight with that guy because his mana was depleted though. That was quite good, quite funny. The water and ice girls, they have an annoying gag, and I don't know, I don't really like them. But you do root for them a lot during the trial with the bird, so they got that going for them. Yubel I think is probably the best character. Yes, she's edgy and evil and shit, but she's got this whole will to power, master morality thing going on, where she does what she wants and carves out her own lane through controlling magic with her feelings, which like totally mugs all of the people going down the conventional routes. Flam is cool for seemingly originating the use of magic for fun shit like making flowers appear and all that, which influenced Frieren a lot. And you know, it may have taken thousands of years, but eventually had the effect of making her feel one emotion. Sere plays a role well, I think. The concept of gatekeeping magic is introduced with her, and I think it's interesting there's a kind of politics around magic, and a lot of pride and honor around it too, kind of similar to Samurai. She's refreshingly expressive and like mean compared to Frieren, sort of like her opposite. I do generally find their interactions interesting. Also the idea that Sere just sits on this throne for massive amounts of time, doing nothing because she has infinite time on her hands, is kind of cool. Sign is alright. He's probably the most aesthetically cool character, and I like how he gets kicked into action as well and stops wasting his life. Important message. Fern has no swag or ambition or anything cool about her. That one scene where Sensor is asking her questions like, Fern, so why are you such a boring bitch? Why are you such a vapid, uninteresting loser? And then Fern's like, the only reason I live is to see the silly elf. I guess this is supposed to hit, because we love the silly elf, of course. But I don't love the silly elf. I love stacking money. I'm pretty sure Fern and Frieren are supposed to be relatable for autistic people. They're both Aspergic, Frieren more so in her behaviours, even among other elves. But Fern in her total lack of style, her inability to express emotions in a healthy way. Furthermore, proof is that only Aspergic people relate to this head patting shit. The head patting shit repulses me because it's such a comfort-brained thing. I just imagine people who like this show saying shit like, I don't even want a girl to have sex with me. I just want a head pat. I just want a girl to touch me, man. I'll deck a girl for trying to head pat me. Shit's yucky. I'm not a fucking animal, am I? Kinda breaking character right now, not gonna lie. But like, I don't want to be treated like a pet or something. Shit is weird. Head pats reek of desperation. The show is for people who are at rock bottom. They think, at least the silly elf gets to go on adventures. Anyway, getting back on track. Usually shows have like subversive characters who are built up to be something that they turn out not to be. But with this show, it's done so many times that it isn't effective. Like, you're surprised about Stark turning out to be a coward when you meet him at first. But by the time you find out about the blue hair guy's real personality and motives, it doesn't really move or surprise you or anything. I think none of the one-off characters are really memorable at all. You compare it to a show like Monster, which, you know, it's not a very fair thing to do, but you'll meet characters in that show who are only in one episode, and you remember them as great characters. With this show, I kind of struggle to name characters I like. There's like a couple characters I like, and then some of these guys are kind of alright. My overarching complaint about this show is that it's just fucking boring. And it's like so many decisions about tone and story and whatever along the way were chosen to reinforce the boredom of it all. I'm not gonna lie, I watched some of these episodes in 1.5 speed, cry about it. Actually, nothing changed. It didn't break any of the delivery or tone at all. Before you say I disrespected the show, and that's probably why I probably didn't get much out of it. Nah, I didn't get much out of it because of all the complaints I've voiced here. Speeding the show up actually stopped me from disliking the experience more. But I do think the show is alright. You'll just have to believe me. I know I just kinda totally tore it apart, but it is still enjoyable. And I think the best parts of the show are like really solid, even if it amounts to about 5 or so episodes. And I mean, look, the feeling of the show still has its effect. It's just overlabored, really. I think I have so many complaints about Frieren because I see within it something really good. But there's all these aspects that are not up to par and that need sorting out. There's a lot of moving pieces in this show that I think have massive potential. They just like haven't moved much yet, that's all. And I worry that maybe they're never going to. But the potential is there, I can see it. I imagine it's possible the manga is much better. And I imagine it's possible season 2 will be much better. Will I check them out? I don't know, to be honest, maybe. It's not like important to me that I do so, but I am intrigued about it, I must admit. Overall, I would give it 6 possible cats out of a possible 10 cats. But that's about it for this video anyway. If you want to watch a good anime, watch Kaiji. That shit is class. That shit will make you a boss. But yeah, subscribe to the Catman Show, leave a like, leave a comment. Goodbye.